Hello, welcome to Tuesday's show with me, Al. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here with me. Should we see what we've got coming up just for you? Okay. We're going to be hearing the joy of an inspiring hospital volunteer who's had a bus named in his honour.
And you talk about the NHS, and they say the NHS is broken. It's like a big slab of gold in this place. They're worth millions. Have you ever tried to break gold? Doesn't work. Works on it.
And with all the recent rain we've been having, we're going to be talking about flooding and specifically County Council plans to protect residents during the bad weather. Plans for One Notts Town were approved today, and it ties in with other work going on in the county following several recent incidents of flooding and heavy rain. And we've got the king of rock and roll, very much. He's on the show later after he took over our city last night.
There's so much respect for Elvis here, and that's really what I try to do in my show, is Elvis at the very front and keep the focus on him and make it a true tribute to our guy, Elvis.
Later on, we'll also be talking to the man who wrote a poem every day for an entire year to mark his 30th birthday. Richard Kish has released a collection of a year of poems and said it features a roller coaster of emotions over the course of 366 days. And in sport, we'll hear from Nigel Clough as Mansfield prepare for yet another league game, and they're facing Crawley at Field Mill tonight.
From playing them over the last couple of seasons, we're capable of winning 3-0, they're capable of beating us 3-0. You know, last season they came to us, everybody turned up thinking, oh, this is going to roll over, and they went 4-0 up against us.
There you go. All that, loads more coming up as well just for you. First though, it's time to revisit a topic that we have chatted about at length on the show in recent times, because it's flooding. It's something we've all become familiar with over the last few years, most recently with the bad effects of storms Babbitt and Henk over the last 18 months, as well as localised flooding at the start of this month as well. Responses to the issue have led to flood alleviation projects being introduced in areas like Loudham. Now though, the County Council has also approved another project in Southall. Our local democracy reporter Lauren Monaghan is here to tell us more. Hello Lauren. So you're at this planning meeting today for floodworks in Southall. Tell us all about it.
So yeah, this was a County Council planning meeting today. And one of the planning applications, it's about works to protect 70 homes in Southall or Southwell.
That's a whole other issue, yeah.
I'll probably be saying Southwell. In Southwell from flooding. So there's some fields at the south of Church Street in the town. And I think some people remember it as it's the home to the former Minster School. So they're planning on making a large earth mound. It's about 250 metres long, and it's supposed to help with water runoff and drainage. In terms of the 70 homes, about 36 of them will be protected from, I've never heard this before, a 1 in a 75-year flooding event, and 34 will have reduced flood risk. This town in 2013 suffered quite badly from flooding. There was about £9 million worth of damage, 300 homes and businesses had internal flooding. There's currently some concern over what got passed today because it was approved. On the site, there's a mid-2nd century Roman villa that they do know that this was there because of excavation works in 2012. And I think where it's situated is close to where the mound is going to be. So they've said that they're going to excavate under the mound, where they're going to put the mound, they're going to excavate first and then put it just to see if they can find any artefacts.
Okay, interesting. That's an added twist. Southall, of course, or Southwell, isn't the only place that's been affected by the floods, though, is it?
Yeah, so Loudham has been pretty badly. So Storm Babbitt, October 2023. In Loudham, there was 130 homes that were evacuated because of the flooding, apparently thousands of pounds worth of damage. I think they got hit by Storm Dennis as well in 2020. And it's thought the Cocker Beck that runs, and it flows into the River Trent, has been the main cause for the flooding issues in Loudham since 1999.
Okay, so Babbitt and Henk, the two storms, they're the best knowns. What sort of damage did we see during those?
Yeah, so there's some scary figures. So Over 1,200 homes and businesses across the county had internal flooding from Storm Babbitt. As a breakdown, it's about 1,259 homes and 92 businesses. But what's really interesting is if you compare this to between 2013 and 2022, there was only 1,547 reports in 9 years. So I think we can see just from that statistic how much Nottinghamshire was damaged by Storm Babbitt.
Yeah.
This storm also led to 77 roads being closed in October, and if we bring this back to Southwell, 14 homes in Southwell were flooded just from that storm. And then with Storm Henk, January 2024, more than 340 homes across the county were flooded. This was about 69 road closures, and in Loudon, I think they were particularly hit. This was about 60 homes.
Wow. It's hard to keep up with which storm is which, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what are the council's plans then for flood defences? County councils.
So they've currently got one going on now. It's a £26 million flood reservoir in Loudon. We're bringing up Loudon again. This was expected to be finished in winter 2025, so this year, but it's been delayed. They're saying that it's going to be delayed by about a year because of the wet weather that we have seen the last couple of years from all of these storms. But it's still planned to go ahead, it's just delayed on that. They've also spoke about maintaining the gullies so that water can drain, any rainwater, it can drain easily. If those gullies get clogged, it makes it incredibly hard for all the water to have anywhere to go. They're also going to campaign awareness for driving in high water. I think the council take a stance that people don't realise the dangers of driving in high water, and just better communication across the board.
Okay, so the flood defences are delayed because of the flooding, which is ironic, I think. Thank you. Now, let's move on. It's time for a story that is rather heartwarming and inspiring. 84-year-old Roy Brooks Porter is a volunteer at the Nottingham University Hospitals Trust, and he recently won the organisation's Volunteer of the Year award. He was put forward in recognition of 15 years of compassion and commitment to Nottingham hospital patients and for being there when they needed him most. His prize is having a bus named in his honour by Nottingham City Transport, and he got to see it for the first time yesterday, and we were there to capture his special moment.
It's stunning. No other words you can say. If you put this in any decent perspective, and you talk about the NHS, and they say the NHS is broken, it's like a big slab of gold in this place. They're worth millions. You ever tried to break gold? Doesn't work. Works on the outside, that's easy, because there's no gold on the outside, it's all inside here.
So Roy, he attends the ward, he prepares the patients for their meals, he goes around, makes sure they have refreshments, he then liaises with staff and he does fetch and carry tasks, answers the telephone, answers the door as well. He also does fundraising for the ward as well, so he goes to the local shops, they donate items to the hospital, he then undertakes raffles in which then he actually delivers the prizes to the people that win as well at home sometimes. He's a lovely man, he's very humble, he's very reliable, he's very helpful. It just couldn't happen to a nicer gentleman.
I think they'll be really, really happy that he's got this award. He's very humble about it all the time with the people. He just always says, it's just Roy, just call me Roy. He doesn't want any praise in that. And then today I think he did look really overwhelmed when it happened. But yeah, he does make a difference to a lot of people's lives.
Every time he gets up to go as a volunteer, no matter how he's feeling, he goes. So it's a credit to him.
And brilliantly, you can see Roy's lilac line double-decker around the city centre and Carlton as well. Right, let's look at some more news headlines now. And police are appealing for help after a woman was assaulted by a group of youths in Nottingham. A police cordon was set up around Nottingham Station and the canal towpath behind Nottingham Crown Court after officers received reports of a robbery just after 8 o'clock this morning. The woman, in her 40s, reported being assaulted by several youths and having money taken from her. She received an injury to her leg but declined ambulance treatment. Police say anyone who can help their investigation should get in touch on 101. And a drug dealer who was spotted selling cocaine from his car has been jailed. Nottinghamshire police officers were near the city's Arboretum when they spotted a man acting suspiciously in the street. A few minutes later, they saw Luke Bryant arriving in his car. He parked up and invited the man inside. After pulling up the 27-year-old's car, officers found several deal bags of cocaine, more than £1,000 in cash and a Stanley knife. Bryant of Branton Crescent in Beeston was jailed for 35 months when he appeared in Nottingham Crown Court last week. And it's unlikely Nottingham City Council will ever recover any money lost following the collapse of a trust which ran Nottingham Castle. The Labour-run authority provided a loan of about £1.8 million to the Nottingham Castle Trust and had more than £800,000 worth of unpaid invoices when the trust went bust in November 2022. The castle reopened in the following summer under the council's control. New papers show the authority is unlikely, though, to recover the lost £2.8 million. And the City Council has confirmed it will increase residents' council tax bills by 4.9% from April. The Labour-run authority announced the measure today, putting an end to suggestions the council may increase it by 10%. It will be allowed to do it as part of the ongoing financial issues, with higher than normal tax rises acceptable to repay exceptional financial support following money given from the government after the effect of bankruptcy. The rise means Band A homes will pay roughly £84 more a year. Now, coming up, how did you celebrate your 30th birthday, if you had it or if you can remember? I'm going to be speaking to a man who decided to write a poem every day for a year to celebrate his, and we've got a big sport roundup as well. It's on the way next. Hello, welcome back to Tuesday's show with me, Al. Thank you for being here. This is what's happening in Notts today. First, plans for the wider redevelopment of Nottingham's Broadmarsh site are expected to be revealed by the end of March. The former shopping centre site was reclaimed by Nottingham City Council after its former owner Intu went bust during the pandemic. Parts of the land have been demolished to make way for the new Green Heart open space. There are more plans to be outlined for how the rest of the land will be used. At a meeting last night, the council's leader, Nagat Khan, said family homes will be prioritised over student housing if homes are built on the land. Changes all the time, it's so intriguing in Broadmarsh still. Now, parts of the Derbyshire borough of Erewash could join Nottinghamshire as part of a shake-up of local government. Erewash Borough Council covers the towns of Long Eaton and Ilkeston and is officially classed as Derbyshire, despite both areas neighbouring Nottinghamshire towns. But the leader of the Borough Council there has told the BBC the idea of joining Notts would make sense. It would be if or when county district and borough councils are scrapped by the government in favour of new, larger combined authorities covering bigger areas. Right, time now for our next great guest in the show, and a Nottingham-based writer has just released his second poetry collection, and it took a whole year to put together, and there's a special reason for that. Richard Kish has been busy putting pen to paper for a collection of poems that he wrote one a day for a whole year to celebrate his 30th birthday. Each poem resembles a memory or experience that he's faced from struggling with depression and anxiety to where he is today. And it follows on from his first piece of work called July. And here is Richard to tell us all about it. And here is Richard's book as well. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on turning 30.
Yes, thank you.
and then getting through 365 poems, you know, that's some dedication. First of all, what was it about turning 30 that made you want to do this?
So there's something about sort of that changing of the decade, and also there are so many other artists that sort of there's something about that particular shift from being in your 20s to being in your 30s that just seems to inspire art for some reason. And so one of my favourite lyrics from a song is "How do you measure a year?" from Seasons of Love, from Jonathan Larson's musical Rent. And it sort of sparked the idea of, well, I did a poem a day for a month 2 years ago, well, technically 3 years ago now, nearly coming up, and just thought, you know what, this is an opportunity to sort of set myself a new challenge of, did one a day for a month, let's do one a day for a year, and just go for it. So I started on my 30th birthday in 2024, and yes, then just went from there all the way through. There were some days which were very challenging to find the inspiration, but then other days there's lots to sort of engage with and get excited about.
So, I mean, yeah, so born in 1994, which is the year I passed my driving test, which is depressing. I mean, was there any sort of moments throughout how does it sort of shape?
So effectively it is just shaped by month, so
Right.
you could go to whichever day of the year and then you'd be able to find that number, and that was the poem that I wrote that day. So sort of chapter wise you've got poems of January, poems from February,
Yeah.
all the way through, but it's sort of a very eclectic mix because life is so
Yeah.
random in that sense. So there are sometimes you've got I went to the theatre and saw a wonderful show, and so there was a poem inspired by that. Sometimes there was events in politics
Right,
that
okay.
happened that I sort of just felt like I had to write about.
Right.
And then other times just the waves of life
Yeah.
hit you and you're just sort of struggling. So
I guess
things
does
about
it
that and
act as a journal?
I mean, effectively, yeah. I mean, one of the things that I think I sort of included in the foreword was that I suppose back when I was a teenager, there's probably I couldn't necessarily see sort of the future of where I would be happy and okay and have the life that I would want for myself.
Right.
And
this is, let me just mention,
Yeah.
there's depression,
Yes,
anxiety as
yes.
well played part.
And it's sort of been a whirlwind year, and like where I've sort of had love from the beginning of it. Sort of just moved in with my partner just sort of that Christmas, and sort of so there's all the excitement of that life, but then there's like new jobs and getting to perform my dream role of Princeton Avenue Q at a production in Mount Sorrel in the June,
Wow.
house hunting, all sorts. So there was a lot going on.
Because that's it. So you have all these standout moments, but let's face it, Sundays are just mundane
Yes.
anyway, aren't
Yes.
they? I mean, where did you get inspiration for like a wet Sunday in April, for example?
I mean, there were times where it was just like, let's just go with my dog Milo is always a source of
Right, yeah.
inspiration because no day's the same
Yeah, yeah.
when you've got a dog. But then also on the days where I was truly having a struggle, it was a case of going, what's an interesting idea for what could spawn something? So there's a couple of poems there just sort of spawned from the idea of, okay, let's take a colour and run with that.
So we've run out of time, and I don't want to because there's so many questions I want to ask you. Was it hard to keep going every day? Was
It
there
was.
every day you went, I've not written a poem?
There may have been a few where I sort of had to go back and go, okay, do 3 poems in a row just to quickly catch
Yeah.
up, but it's just because life rolls along,
Yeah, it
and
does.
you sort of have to find a way to sort of get through it, and sort of see it as a testament of you can be happy and you can find the things that you sort of
And that's
want to
kind
have,
of-
and
And that's
like,
the
you can be
flow
okay.
of the,
Yeah.
the book, isn't it?
Yeah.
It starts off and
Yeah.
where it ends is brilliant because
Yeah.
that's where you are now.
Yeah.
Where can we get this?
So you can get it on Amazon and Kobo. Quickest way of probably finding it is if you go to my website, which is www.richardkish.co.uk, or find me on social media, which is generally Richard A. Kish on most of the platforms. And
So many now as well.
yes,
So many platforms.
you should be able to get it from there, along with my previous 2
Yeah, of
books,
course.
July and my novel, The Burning Ash.
Yes, because you are a writer.
Yes.
But well done,
Thank you.
365 days to keep up. That's pretty impressive. Thank you. Now, from poetry to sport, we'll start with Mansfield Town. They play tonight against Crawley at the One Call Stadium. They were defeated against them bottom place Cambridge at the weekend with 2 early goals and a third in the first half, leaving it 3-2 to Cambridge. Now, though, manager Nigel Clough says he wants to come through and make a change tonight.
From playing them over the last couple of seasons, we're capable of winning 3-0, they're capable of beating us 3-0. You know, last season they came to us, everybody turned up thinking, oh, this is going to be, we're going to roll over, and they went 4-0 up against us when we were going for promotion. I think that sums Crawley up on their day. Honestly, they're as dangerous as anybody. We've talked about this. I thought Saturday would be our hardest game of the season just because of the way it fell and everything, and Cambridge hitting that, playing well the week before. There is no you can't look at the thing and say, well, you're playing Birmingham, Wrexham or Stockport, and that's going to be any harder than playing Crawley, Shrewsbury or Cambridge. That's how even the league is this season.
Notts County also play tonight at Meadow Lane. They're against Carlisle, coming off the back of the 1-1 draw with Bromley. Manager Stuart Maynard says the fans can play their part.
We look so forward to playing in front of our home fans, and I thought the atmosphere was incredible again today, and we've just got to keep going. We've got a lot of home games now, more than away games, so look, we're excited for the next game on Tuesday night, and look, we know it's going to be a difficult game, and we can't look at Carlisle's league position. They've won today, they've signed a lot of good players. It will take time to gel, but they've got a lot of good players, and I see them picking up and winning games of football, so we know it's going to be a real tough test. Look, we're working very hard behind the scenes, that's all I can say at the minute. There's nothing imminent at the minute, but we're working very hard.
Nottingham Forest women's head coach has been sharing her reaction after the team made it to the League Cup final. They beat #United in Essex on Sunday thanks to a late penalty from Charlie Wellings, which saw off the current cup holders and booked them a date with Stoke at Walsall's Bescot Stadium in March. Speaking after the game, Reds head coach Carly Davis said it'll be another big day in the club's history and praised the way her side performed during the game.
Momentum was shifting backwards and forwards, but we always know that we've got goals in us. Like I said the same last week, whether that's the first minute or the 91st minute, we have to trust that we're going to get an opportunity. I think we should have had a Stonewall penalty in the first half and wasn't given one, so for me that one, I mean, there was no question in that one from Charlie on Nat, and then when Charlie steps up, I know she's going to score, so and she had the confidence to do that, and then what we did is manage the last 5 minutes of the game really well. So I'm really pleased for the players, I'm really pleased for our fans. We wanted to do this one for them, we want to give them a final to look forward to, and what a final it's going to be now against Stoke.
The Nottingham Panthers say tickets are on sale for their Challenge Cup semi-final against the Belfast Giants. Panthers travel to Belfast for the first leg on Wednesday, February the 12th, before welcoming the Giants to Nottingham for the reverse fixture 2 weeks later on February the 26th. If they get past those two games, they'll face either the Sheffield Steelers or the Cardiff Devils in the final in March. Also, don't forget, we've got all 11 goals from the side's recent 7-4 win over Guildford right here on Notts TV. It's in a 2-hour special from 9 p.m. tomorrow night, straight after Team Talk. In cricket, Nottinghamshire and the Blaze will return to Abu Dhabi in March as part of their pre-season preparations. Both sides headed out there last year to prepare for the new season, which gets going in April. It will tour the country between March the 10th and 21st. Notts will take on Somerset, Essex, Warwickshire and Yorkshire in red and white ball formats, while a 3-day T20 festival will also take place from the 14th to the 16th. Travel packs are being put on by the club. Right, photo of the daytime now, a lovely shot of a cheeky squirrel. This is Steve Plowinski who shared this one with us. Nice shot. Time for your weather now. We have had highs of 9 today, and then we are dropping down to 5 overnight. Tomorrow it's going to be sunny one, again highs of 9 degrees. Some cloud dropping down to 1 degree into Thursday. Then Thursday, nothing but sunshine. Hurrah, it's almost like spring. It's not though, only highs of 7, still fairly cold. Right, coming up, we're hearing about a casting call for transgender actors wanted for a new play, and a What's On guide. Yeah, we'll be meeting the King. He was in Nottingham last night. Thank you very much. Hello, welcome back to Notts Today. How are you? Thank you for being here. I'm Al. These are your headlines for Tuesday. And snagging issues which have delayed the opening of the new Sherwood Library have now been resolved. Construction on the facility off Mansfield Road and Spondon Street completed last year. The building was scheduled to open its doors last summer, but this was first delayed until Christmas and then again until next summer after more than 100 defects were found inside the building. City Council has now confirmed these problems have been resolved, and that means the facility can be fitted out ahead of the summer opening. And the Notts Council's rejected an opposition motion calling for all politicians to receive an enhanced DBS check. Gedling Borough Council voted down the calls put forward by opposition councillors at a meeting last week, calling for all politicians to immediately go through enhanced safeguarding checks. However, councillors did agree to look into whether the rule could be introduced into policy in the future, An enhanced DBS check reveals unspent convictions, cautions, warnings and reprimands, and is aimed at protecting children and vulnerable adults. And sticking in Gedling Borough, a mural that celebrates the history of Netherfield has been commissioned thanks to government funding. The art project is underway and aims to inspire creativity and get people learning new skills in the community. Workshops will be held involving local people, aimed at getting them to create the large mural, which would be displayed in a local park. It's been designed by local artist Anna Dixon, who worked with residents to create the artwork. After the workshops, it will be placed in Jackie Bell's Park. Now it is time for your What's On guide. We'll give you a little rundown of just a handful of things you can get up to if you fancy going out this Tuesday, and we'll start at the Ferry Inn in Wilford. It's their Nottingham regular club meet-up. You can meet some new faces, you can have a nice cold glass of beer or wine or soft drink, whatever you want. I'm not here to tell you what to drink. It starts at 8 PM though, that's all you need to know. Alternatively, over at Coco Tang Cocktail Bar, it's their House of Disco. It's got live saxophone, so you can have some nice jazz, all starting at 10:30. You can still get tickets as well. They're £6.50 if you fancy going along. Or if a quiz night is what you're looking for this Tuesday, look no further, as Revolution Cuba is running their weekly quiz night. It starts at 8, so you can grab tickets for it on the door. And then lastly, but by no means least, it's Trick Tuesday at Bar Bar on Goosegate. It's their midweek party. It starts at 10. Now, for something so uplifting, we're talking about it throughout the show. 84-year-old Roy Brooks Porter is a volunteer at the Nottingham University Hospitals Trust, and he's just had a bus named after him. Roy recently won the organisation's Volunteer of the Year award in recognition of 15 years of compassion and commitment to Nottingham hospital patients, and for being there in their times of need. Yesterday, he got to see his reward. It was gifted to him by Nottingham City Transport, and we were there.
It's stunning. No other words you can say. If you put this in any decent perspective, and you talk about the NHS, and they say the NHS is broken, it's like a big slab of gold in this place. They're worth millions. You ever tried to break gold? Doesn't work. Works on the outside, that's easy, because there's no gold on the outside, it's all inside here.
So Roy, he attends the ward, he prepares the patients for their meals, he goes around, makes sure they have refreshments, he then liaises with staff and he does fetch and carry tasks, answers the telephone, answers the door as well. He also does fundraising for the ward as well, so he goes to the local shops, they donate items to the hospital, he then undertakes raffles in which then he actually delivers the prizes to the people that win as well at home sometimes. He's a lovely man, he's very humble, he's very reliable, he's very helpful. It just couldn't happen to a nicer gentleman.
I think they'll be really, really happy that he's got this award. He's very humble about it all the time with the people. He just always says, it's just Roy, just call me Roy. He doesn't want any praise in that. And then today I think he did look really overwhelmed when it happened. But yeah, he does make a difference to a lot of people's lives.
Every time he gets up to go as a volunteer, no matter how he's feeling, he goes. So it's a credit to him.
Now, if you're looking for your big break on the world's stage, this could well be your chance. The Lace Market Theatre will soon see the curtains being pulled back for The Prince production, which is about two trans women trying to fight their way out of a Shakespeare play. But along the way, they discover one of the characters from the play is also trans, but deeply closeted. Director of the play, Laurie Owen, is now looking for 3 brilliant trans women to play the main roles for the piece, and he joins me now to tell us more. Laurie, so is this all meta? Is that the right phrase for it?
Yes, it's got a play within a play for sure, and there's some Shakespeare in there as well, and a lot of Fakespeare as well. So there's.
I've never heard that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, so you don't need to know anything about Shakespeare to enjoy the play. In fact, one of the characters who gets stuck in the play, as soon as she finds out she's in a Shakespeare play, she's like, "Oh no!" But that becomes very important because she then starts being the one who's questioning the Shakespeare characters and going, "Why are you doing that? Or why are you being so mean to your son?"
Okay. I mean, that in itself intrigues me, the whole setup of it. And you are looking for 3 stars of the show, I guess?
Yes, so it's a cast of 8, and 3 of those parts are written for trans women. And the ages sort of range between 18 to 60, and there's more information on the website. But there are three characters who are both wonderfully different from each other. There's Jen, who's a young, slightly naive girl from the modern day. There's Sam, who's a bit older than her, a bit more experienced and quite a motherly sort of character. And then there's Hotspur, who is not traditionally thought of as a female character, but in this play she is. And she is a Shakespeare character who's got a lot of responsibilities, and she's in the middle of fighting a war, and she's supposed to inherit her dad's legacy. And so she has a lot of pressure sort of piling on her, and then these two women sort of appear, and she starts to sort of question what her responsibilities really are and what she needs to be really happy.
Okay. So is this a comedy or do you know, whenever I get anyone from the arts in, I always feel like such a mainstream Philistine because I just sound like I don't know a thing. Is it a comedy? Is it a drama? Is it?
Oh, there's definitely funny bits.
Right, okay.
But there's plenty of drama in there as well. I mean, the whole kind of situation is quite absurd. You've got two women who are stuck in this play. But the stakes for the characters are very real, and there are points where the two women who are from outside the play are kind of going like, this is ridiculous. It's all just pretend. It's just a play. But these characters' lives are built around, you know, this. It's in the setting is the Henry IV Part 1, where the monarchy is really important, but it's also kind of falling to pieces, and everyone is annoyed with England. Everyone's annoyed with the king. And the stakes are really high because it's the legacy of the crown, and it's the legacy of the earls who were supposed to be supporting the crown as well are at stake.
So, so you're looking for 3 trans women to come and play. Is this quite a rare opportunity in 2025?
I would say it is really. We're kind of getting more and more trans representation in the theatre industry, but there's still a couple of trans plays that I would call that are written by cis writers that sort of get trotted out all the time, and it's really refreshing, this play, because it's actually written by a trans woman. It's written by Abigail Thorne. Some people might know her from Philosophy Tube, which is a YouTube channel she runs. And I think what's wonderful about it, though, is it's a play that could only have been written by a trans woman, but it says so many things about the human condition that anybody can relate to. I mean, everybody's felt constrained by their responsibilities and the expectations of their parents and their loved ones, and every character in the play has to face that kind of conundrum, not just the trans characters.
So, so as well as being in play, I guess it's quite helpful for younger audiences, like you say. The Hotspur is the character. Hotspur's closeted.
Yes.
So in that sense, you know, you're coming along, you're watching art, but I guess there's that helpful story in there as well.
Yes, and the character of Hotspur, the writer Abigail Thorne has said that character is quite autobiographical in some ways, and Abigail Thorne played that character when it was originally on the West End. And it's a wonderful part, a very challenging part, but has such a beautiful emotional arc that she goes on. And she goes on this real journey of, everybody knows Hotspur as this renowned fighter, kind of an incredible sword fighter, but also Hotspur is very constrained by sort of toxic masculinity in a lot of ways, and struggles to kind of relate to other people and to talk about what's going on. And the journey that the character goes on is something that I think is very relatable for a lot of trans people, a lot of trans women. Okay. But ultimately, it's a story of hope and wonder, I would say.
Fantastic. How can, if someone's watching this, they go, I want that part. How can people get involved?
So all the information is on the Lace Market Theatre's website. So if you go on whatever search engine you want to use, type in Lace Market Theatre, go to What's On, Auditions, The Prince.
Fantastic. And when can we see it?
So the auditions will be in April. They're on the 15th of April and the 17th of April. And then the actual show will be on at the end of July.
End of July. Brilliant. We will be there. So that sounds brilliant. Thank you, Laurie. Right, let's have a look at some more news headlines now. A suspected burglar was arrested after police were called to a break-in at a city shopping arcade. Nottinghamshire Police attended West End Arcade at 1:45 this morning. The business owner heard glass smashing and spotted an intruder. Officers managed to arrest a 56-year-old man on suspicion of burglary. The force said inquiries are ongoing to work out whether any items are missing, and said if you've got any information, call them on 101. Police are also appealing for help as they tried to reunite a couple with sentimental jewellery. The items were stolen during a burglary at a house on Forest Lane in Papelwick on December the 16th. They say a couple returned to their home about 7:20 in the evening and discovered the break-in. Items stolen, which you can see on your screens now, include a gold metal pocket watch with the name Ray engraved on it. There we go. Anyone who can help or recognise any items can call police on 101. And a man's been charged by police after a 48-hour dispersal order was implemented across Sutton in Ashfield. It was in place across the town centre over the weekend after reports of antisocial behaviour. Nottinghamshire Police said a man who's not been named was detained on suspicion of failing to comply. The 51-year-old man will appear at Mansfield Magistrates Court next month. Now, Elvis has left the building and indeed has left Nottingham, but he was here last night. You'll meet the king of rock and roll next, plus we'll be catching up with our resident star man, Dr. Dan Brown, to look up to the skies. It's all coming up next. Hello, welcome back to Tuesday's show. I'm Al, thanks for being here. This is what is happening in Notts today. Senior Mansfield councillors have supported budget plans for the upcoming financial year. It includes a tax rise of nearly 3% for all homes, affecting the most common Band A houses, with an extra £4 on the authority's portion of tax bills, as well as the use of reserves to balance the books. The proposals were supported by Cabinet members at a meeting last night. Now the plans will be put before the full council meeting next month. And tram operator NET has reminded passengers about a huge discount on annual travel, which comes to an end this week. The operator's annual pass, which brings unlimited travel on the tram network for a full year, is currently available for £200 less than normal. It's on offer until Friday for £525, working out at about £1.44 per day. Operator NET said people wanting to take advantage of the deal have until midnight on Friday, heading into Saturday when the calendar flips to February. But you must buy now! I felt like I was doing one of those adverts then. Now, the Motorpoint Arena was filled last night with Burning Love, thanks as the Ultimate Elvis tribute, Dean Z, arrived for the last stop of his second UK tour. Dean was dubbed the Ultimate Elvis performer back in 2013. He was labelled as the greatest Elvis tribute and is now an ambassador for the Elvis Presley estate. Last night he performed the greatest hits of Elvis's career, from the sideburns and slick hair of the 50s and blue suede shoes to the sparkling jumpsuits of the 70s, all whilst being backed by an 11-piece band of brass, bass and vocals. So, Notts TV's very own Elvis impersonator Jack Sims left the building to be the king. Thank you very much.
The 10th and final show of Dean Z's Ultimate Elvis UK Tour. This marked the tribute artist's second solo tour across the UK and his first ever appearance at the Motorpoint Arena. This brought thousands of Elvis fans together for one night under one roof. For Dean Zeltman, this began when he was just 3 years old, dancing along to Elvis on the TV. But now, this lifelong love has become a lasting career, performing in Las Vegas, to having his own TV show, and being bestowed with the title of Ultimate Elvis in 2013, to which he was then endorsed by Elvis Presley Enterprises. So after watching the crew set up their stage, it was time for me to request an audience with the king himself.
I'm just going to come right out of the bat and say, like, this is great. This is like a big thing for me. Obviously, I am a huge Elvis fan, so I feel a bit giddy meeting you, actually. How are you doing?
I'm great, brother. Man, I'm happy to meet you. I'm a big Elvis fan too, so we could both be giddy together.
So, I mean, obviously, this is the last show of the tour. How's it been going?
You know, I love the UK. The Elvis fans here are magical. They experience it in a really cool way because, you know, Elvis never came to the UK. So in my own special way, I get to kind of complete Elvis's work. We've been to Nottingham a few times. It's got the best fish and chips that I've ever had. I love the fish and chips here, especially at the old Jerusalem by the castle. Love that place, so good.
In terms of sort of your own ties to Elvis's legacy now, you know, how do you find sort of that balance between yourself and also being this legendary figure for people? Like, how is that balance for you? It's quite the double life.
As an Elvis fan first, as an entertainer second, just seeing their responses and seeing the emotions, you know, throughout the entire show, there's so much respect for Elvis here, and that's really what I try to do in my show, is put Elvis at the very front and keep the focus on him. And it's big, impossible shoes to fill. Blue suede shoes, if you will.
I've got a pair of them on right here.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, look at that.
Yes, you do. Man, it's sharp, man. That's very cool.
So although Elvis has now left the building, and in fact the country, he hopes to one day return to Nottingham to once again give us the royal rock and roll treatment. Jack Sims for Notts TV.
Now, from a hunker burning love to someone who knows a thing or two about burning bright in the sky. Our resident starman, Dr. Dan Brown, is here to tell us what we can expect from the night sky for the next few weeks. Hello, Dan.
Hello. So I can't do a stunning Elvis impression, but I can give you some stars that are in the sky, actually planets. And I think this is a really good one because the beginning of the month reigns in National Astronomy Week, and that's nicely done from the 1st to the 9th of February. And in that time, we can explore loads of things using the moon as well as a little guide. So that starts straight away off with the 1st of February, where we can use the moon jammed in between Venus and Saturn there. Just after 6 o'clock, low on the western horizon, you'll be able to see the moon crescent just sneaking in there. Venus is on the 19th of February, the brightest that it can be. And actually, if you want to have a challenge, Google a little bit around and see how you can spot Venus even during the daytime, which is a challenge, but it might just be possible. What I've left out here is just to the bottom left of Venus, Neptune, which is there in theory, but for the naked eye, not visible. You can see sort of from the day before and the day after, the moon sort of shuffled through quite nicely and moving along like all the other planets along this imaginary path through the sky where all the planets and the moon move along, which is called the ecliptic. But there's more to behold. So as we're moving towards the end of the National Astronomy Week, we'll get towards the possibility to see the moon meeting Mars. And that's something that we can see here nicely on the 9th of February. Which should hopefully come up. There we are. And at that point, we can see how the moon moves along that imaginary path of the ecliptic where Mars waits for it. And we here in Nottingham see Mars just below. So you can see if the moon is to the left of Mars, and it's before 7 o'clock in the evening. And if the moon is to the right, then it's after that. Interestingly, though, if you manage to get far north, we're talking about getting onto the Orkney Isles or further north, you'll get a treat because then Mars just disappears behind the moon, which is really, really nice to behold and spot. But so much on the planets, and there's a little bit more out there as well. I don't know if you've come across the term planet parade then on the social media forums.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was really excited. I was talking to my brother-in-law about this at the weekend, how they're all lining up and we can watch and see like some Disney dancing.
I know, they're all lined up. It is super rare. My God, have I missed it? Yes, unfortunately, there's a lot of fake news out there and a lot of statements made to sort of act as clickbait. They don't line up. At best, it's sometimes described as being a line in the sky, but even that is nothing all too surprising. I've tried to illustrate it here with mentioning this ecliptic, this imaginary path of the planets in the sky. All planets move along that. So it should be a surprise that if you spot them, they're all in this path along the sky, which is actually in the sky more like an arc. What we'll best get is they're not even all clustered together in one point, but they're all more or less visible at the same time in the sky, a big arc. So at around about, let's say 7 p.m, just before Saturn gets too low, you'll be able to see nicely all the planets in the sky. But that stretches all across. You can just get Saturn and Venus on the right-hand side of your field of view and Mars on the left, just about. So again, what is probably best to explain is that they're just visible in one go. And when you say that, they're still missing Mercury. And Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars are visible, but the other Neptune and Uranus, not at all, because they're far too faint. So a lot of fake news coming through there, unfortunately. So it's not an alignment which is super rare. Have I missed it? No, because it's over many days and weeks is that visible. Only now when they say next good week or two, we'll lose Saturn for sure, as it's going to go too low and be drowned out by the sun as it sets. So don't get hyped up, but go outside and enjoy spotting the planets and follow the moon as it moves through its path and helps you to find some of these in Astronomy Week.
Right, okay, so no straight line. You're a planet party pooper. No straight line, but that was never going to happen anyway, so fair enough. It was fun, but we can still see them, just not all of them in an inline. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, enjoy it, but just don't get lured in by false expectations, and just go outside and enjoy the stars and the planets.
Brilliant. Thanks, Dan. We shall do that then. Still something good from that. Thank you. We'll talk to you next month. Now, in case you missed it, with a new year came a new book club and a new book to discuss on this month's show. It's still showing on the channel throughout the week. If you catch it, if you don't worry. That's what catch-up's for. NotsTV.com or on YouTube, Nots TV Official. It's like this.
This month on Nots TV Book Club, we're talking about Penance by Eliza Clark, an edgy true crime reconstruction of bullying, occultism and decay set in a northern seaside town. Sounds like fun, it is. Join us on Freeview 7 and Virgin 159 or on demand at notstv.com.
There's part of it where I feel like I'm reading a story, and then there's part of it where I feel like I'm reading lots of separate pieces, and how do I link them all together? But then as the novel progresses, that kind of eases a little bit to me.
We could sit and unpick about 8 different themes in this book. I also think that the Russian doll effect of it being a book within a book with this like sort of fictional critique.
Now it's time to see your photo of the day again. It's a squirrel which was spotted in a garden getting up to no good. Thanks Steve Plavinsky for that one. Squirrel nicking someone's nuts there. Now time for your weather. Tonight's going to be a cloudy one, dropping to 5 degrees overnight. Tomorrow some sunny spells early on, highs of 9. Then getting low as 1 as we head into Thursday, which is going to be a sunny one for the most part. Highs of 7, quite nice, dropping to 1 degree into Friday there. Right, thank you for being here today. Remember, tomorrow night, Team Talk is on, and before that, Mark Dennison's with you for Nots Today at 5:30. I'm Al, I'll see you soon, bye.